What happens when the papers arrive while I'm still limping from surgery and everyone is watching me pretend to be the victim? How did one name I whispered in a hospital bed turn into a legal result that hit my life in public, with no way to talk my way out? My name is Alithea Marlowe, and I used to believe I was a good wife because I could keep a home running. I paid bills on time, I packed lunches, I posted photos that looked warm and normal. People saw the pictures and assumed love was inside them. The surgery was supposed to be small. It was not a big drama, not a life story. I told everyone it was just a repair, like a simple fix. I said I was brave. I said Ethan should be grateful I was not making a scene. Ethan came with me to the hospital early in the morning. He carried a tote bag with my socks and a charger. He asked if I wanted water. I said no and acted annoyed because it sounded like a silly question. He asked if I was scared. I said I was fine and told him to stop making it heavy. I wanted him present, but not too present. I wanted care, but only on my terms. My mother, Trish, arrived after we checked in. She kissed my forehead and said I looked pale. She asked Ethan if he filled the forms right. He said he did. She then asked him why he looked tense, as if his face was an insult to my recovery. I watched them like it was a test. I always watched like that. My sister Maris sent messages the whole time. She asked if she should post a strong woman story. I said yes, but not with my hospital gown. I wanted people worried, but not too worried. I wanted attention that did not make me look weak. When they rolled me toward the operating area, Ethan walked beside me for a while. He squeezed my hand once. He asked if I wanted him to call anyone. I said no. I told him to just be there and not hover. He nodded like he understood. Ethan was good at nodding. I used to think it meant he agreed with me. Now I think he just avoided fights. I woke up later in a bright room that smelled like plastic and soap. My mouth felt dry. My head was heavy. I heard soft beeps and the squeak of shoes. A nurse asked how I felt. I said I felt strange and cold. The nurse told me to breathe slow. I tried, but the room spun. Ethan stood on my right side, very close. He had the same tote bag. His jacket was folded over his arm. He looked tired, but neat, like he had been holding himself in place. I wanted comfort. I wanted the kind of comfort that makes you forget you did anything wrong. My mind reached for the person who always gave me easy comfort, the person who never asked hard questions. I said Noah's name. It came out soft, like a habit. It was not a plan. It was like my mouth spoke before my brain woke up. The nurse paused. I saw it in the way her eyebrows moved. Another nurse on the other side glanced over. Ethan did not move at first. His hand was still holding the rail of the bed. Then he blinked once, slow, like he was forcing time to behave. I knew what it looked like. I knew what it sounded like. I felt a sharp fear, like I had stepped on glass. I turned my face and tried to laugh. I told the nurse I was dreaming. I said the medicine made people say random names. I then looked at Ethan and told him not to start. I said I was the one in the bed. Ethan asked who Noah was. His voice was low. It was not loud enough for a fight, but it was clear enough to cut. I told him it was a guy from work, a team lead, nothing. I said he was being dramatic. I said he always wanted to make me feel guilty for normal things. I said it was cruel to question me when I was still half asleep. The nurse asked if I needed more pain relief. I said yes, because I wanted the moment to end. I also wanted Ethan to look bad if he kept asking. If I looked weak and sick, then any pressure from him would look wrong. I knew that. I used it. Ethan did not raise his voice. He did not call me names. He just stared at the floor for a second, like he was counting something. Then he asked the nurse when I could go home. He asked what the rules were for meds, lifting, walking, and follow-up visits. He spoke like a person making a list. Trish arrived a little later, smiling too wide. She asked how I was. I said I was in pain and tired. Ethan stood back and let her take my hand. She asked Ethan why he looked cold. He said he was fine and that I needed rest. Trish's eyes narrowed, like she did not accept a calm answer. When Trish stepped out to talk to a staff member, Ethan leaned closer. He asked again who Noah was. I told him it was nothing. I said if he wanted to ruin my recovery, that would say a lot about him. I said he loved control more than he loved me. I watched his face when I said it. I expected him to defend himself. I expected a messy word. I wanted proof of his problem. He did not give it. He asked if I had been talking to Noah outside of work. I said no. I said he was acting paranoid. I said he should be embarrassed. I told him he needed to apologize for even thinking about that. Ethan said he would not argue in the hospital. He said we would talk later, at home. His voice stayed steady. That steadiness made me feel unsafe in a different way. When a man yells, you can point at it. When a man stays calm, you cannot grab it and show it to people. On the drive home, he kept both hands on the wheel. He asked if I wanted music. I said no. He asked if I wanted to stop for soup. I said no, because I did not want him acting sweet. Sweet would confuse me. It would make me feel guilty. I did not want guilt. I wanted a clean story where I was the hurt one. At home, the kitchen lights were too bright. The counters were clean, like he had wiped them while I was gone. The kids were at school. The silence felt staged. Ethan helped me sit on a chair. He put my pills on the table with a glass of water. He asked what time I wanted the next dose. I said he should already know. I told him he was pretending to be helpful so he could look good later. I said I could see through him. He asked again about Noah. I told him I already answered. I said he was fixated. I said it was scary. I said if he kept pushing, I would tell people he was harassing me while I was recovering. I knew that word would land heavy. Ethan worked around rules. Rules mattered to him. Ethan nodded once. He did not argue. He walked to the hallway, opened a small drawer near his desk, and I heard a click. It was not a normal drawer sound. It sounded like a lock. He came back and asked what I needed for the night. He asked about my blanket. He asked if I wanted the guest room bed made so I could sleep without stairs. I said yes, and I acted like it was his duty. If I asked kindly, it would look like I depended on him. I did not want that. I wanted power, even while sitting. That evening, Maris came over with takeout and her phone in her hand. She asked how I was. I said I was struggling. She asked if Ethan was being supportive. I said he was acting weird. I said he got jealous and made my recovery stressful. I did not mention the name I said. I let her assume. Ethan stayed in the doorway and listened. He did not correct me. He did not defend himself. He just picked up my empty cup and washed it. It was almost insulting, like he was above it. Later, when the house was dark, I heard a soft printer sound from the hallway. It was quick, like a page feeding through. Then I heard nothing. Ethan did not come to the bedroom. He did not ask to talk again. He did not apologize. He did not chase. I lay in bed and told myself I deserved peace. I told myself a single name did not mean anything. I told myself Ethan should have more empathy than pride. I still think I was right. But when I closed my eyes, I kept seeing Ethan's face in the hospital. Not angry, not loud, just changed, like a door closing inside him. The next week, I treated my recovery like a badge. I walked slower on purpose in the office hallway. I held my stomach when people looked. I wanted them to see me as fragile, but also strong. It is a useful mix. I went back to work before I needed to. Ethan asked if I could rest longer. I said I did not have the luxury, and I implied he would not understand, because his job was simple. He looked down at the kids' lunchboxes and said nothing. His quiet made me feel like he was judging me without words, so I decided I had to win the room outside our home. At the open-plan office, the lights were harsh and the air felt dry. People glanced up when I entered. Cara stood first. She asked how I was feeling. I said I was fighting through pain. But I was not the kind of woman who stayed down. A few co-workers smiled like they were proud of me. That was what I wanted. Kara asked if Ethan was taking good care of me. I paused just long enough. I said he was trying, but it felt like he was upset with me for being sick. I made my voice small. Kara's face changed fast. She said that sounded unfair. I nodded like I did not want to complain, which made the complaint land harder. In the break room, a co-worker named Tessa asked why Ethan looked so stiff in the hospital photo I posted. I said he had always been like that. I said he was not good with emotions. I said he could not stand not being the center of attention. I watched their eyes. I watched their mouths tighten, like they were building a new story for him. I felt relief. Noah came in while I was stirring coffee with shaking hands that were not really shaking. He asked how I was doing. I said I was sore, and I said it was sweet of him to ask. I made it sound like a normal work thing. But my stomach jumped anyway, because his name had become a problem I could not erase. Noah asked if Ethan heard it. I said he did. Noah told me it was not my fault, and that meds made people say weird things. I agreed too fast. Noah told me I should be careful because people loved gossip. I said people should mind their business. I acted bold, but I felt small. I went back to my desk and saw a message from Ethan. He asked what time I would be home. He added that he would pick up Caleb from after school if I needed. The words were simple. There were no emojis, no love you. I stared at the plain text and felt angry, like he was taking something from me. I wrote back that I did not know and that I had a lot going on. Then I added that I did not need him acting like a hero. I wanted to poke him. I wanted him to react so I could tell myself he was the problem. At lunch, Kara invited me to sit with her and 2 other women. They asked about my recovery, and then shifted to my marriage like it was normal. Kara asked if Ethan had been cold since the hospital. I said yes. I said he was punishing me for being weak. I said he had always had a jealous streak, but now it was worse. I said it was exhausting. I did not say Noah's name. I did not need to. I let them imagine whatever fit. One of them asked if Ethan tracked my phone or checked my messages. I laughed and said he was not that smart, but he tried to monitor me with questions. The table laughed with me. The laugh felt good and sharp, like a drink. When work ended, Noah offered to walk me to the parking garage, because I was still healing. I said yes, but I told myself it was for safety, not for him. I always had a reason ready. The garage smelled like oil and old concrete. My footsteps echoed. Noah asked if Ethan had been sleeping in the guest room. I said he had, and I acted like it was his choice and his flaw. Noah said Ethan sounded childish. I agreed. I liked hearing it from someone else. It made my story feel true. Noah asked if I wanted to grab food sometime, just to talk. I said I could not because Ethan would misread it, and I made Ethan sound controlling again. Noah said it was not fair, and that I deserved support. I nodded and looked away, like I was trying not to cry. I was not actually crying. I was building an image. When I got to my car, I saw Ethan's car 1 row over. That surprised me. Then I saw him sitting inside, not looking at me, just waiting. My throat tightened. I wondered if he had followed me. I wondered if he was watching. The thought scared me, but it also made me feel important. I got in my car fast. Ethan pulled out behind me, keeping distance. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself it was a coincidence. But my hand stayed tight on the wheel. At home, Ethan was already cooking plain pasta for the kids. The kitchen smelled like butter and salt. He asked how my day was. I said it was hard. He asked if I needed help with my bag. I said I could manage. I did not thank him for dinner. I did not want to give him points. After the kids went to bed, I went to the hallway for water and saw Ethan at his desk. He had his laptop open and a few tabs up. One tab looked like delivery tracking. Another looked like notary near me. I pretended I did not see. He noticed me and closed the screen halfway. He asked if I was comfortable sleeping upstairs. I said I was fine. He asked if I wanted to talk now. I said I had no energy for his interrogation. He nodded again, that same calm nod. He told me he had to make a call tomorrow and then looked at his phone. His phone lit up with a simple reminder. Meeting, personal. No place name. Just a time in the afternoon. I asked what that was. I tried to sound casual. He said it was something he needed to take care of. I asked if it was about me. He said it was about the family. I felt heat rise in my face. I told him he was being secretive on purpose to punish me. I said he enjoyed making me nervous. I said he was proving he was not safe for me emotionally. The words came out smooth because I had practiced them in my head on the drive home. Ethan did not argue. He asked if I had been talking to Noah outside work. I froze for half a second, then I laughed. I said Noah was a co-worker, and Ethan was acting insecure. I said if he kept accusing me, he would ruin our marriage with his paranoia. I said I would not live in a house where I was treated like a criminal. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. Then he looked back at his laptop. I heard a soft beep, like a recording app starting or stopping, but I could not be sure. He reached into the drawer I heard him lock before and took out a folder with a plain label. Bank. He did not open it in front of me. He just held it for a second, then put it back and locked the drawer again. I went upstairs feeling both angry and uneasy. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself he was trying to scare me. I told myself it was proof he was the villain. But in the dark, I kept thinking about that reminder on his phone and the way he said, the family, not you and me. That small change felt like a line he had already crossed. The weekend came with a clear sky, and I felt like it was unfair that Ethan still looked quiet. I had told myself the hospital moment was a mistake. I had told myself he would calm down after a few days. Instead, he got more careful, like he was stepping around something sharp. On Saturday morning, I woke up and saw 2 mugs on the counter, not one. One had his teabag string hanging out. The other was my cup, set farther away. It looked like a small thing, but it felt like a message. Ethan asked if I slept well. I said I barely slept because pain kept waking me. He asked if I wanted him to take the kids to the park so I could rest. I said yes, and I added that he should have done that without being asked. He nodded and started packing snacks, calm and quiet. While he moved around the kitchen, I saw a faint smell of toner in the air, like something had printed during the night. I looked toward his desk area. The printer tray was closed and neat. Nothing sat on top. It bothered me more than a mess would. Maris came by around noon with iced coffee and her phone already open. She asked if I wanted to get out of the house. I said yes because I needed fresh air and support. I did not say I also needed a stage. Kara texted that she had reserved a table at a rooftop bar downtown. She said it would be a good reset after my surgery. I said yes right away. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself it was self-care. I did not say out loud that I wanted photos. I wanted proof that I was fine and wanted, even if my husband acted like a stranger. Ethan asked where I was going. I said I was meeting friends. He asked if it was smart to drink while I was still healing. I said I was not a child. I said he was trying to control me because he felt insecure. He said he was not trying to control me. He said he just wanted me safe. I told him that safe was his favorite word when he wanted to limit me. I told him he was using my recovery as a leash. He did not answer. He just asked what time I would be back for the kids' bedtime. I said I did not know and that he could handle it for once. In the elevator down to the parking garage, Maris asked if Ethan was still being cold. I said yes. I said he was acting like I betrayed him just because I said a name in the hospital. I said he was punishing me over nothing. Maris asked whose name it was. I said it did not matter. I said he was twisting it into a big thing because he liked drama. Maris laughed and said Ethan always seemed soft. I agreed, even though the word felt mean when it left my mouth. I told myself it was true. I told myself he needed to hear it somehow, even if he was not there. We rode the metro into the city. I watched couples hold hands and felt angry at Ethan for not holding mine anymore. I also felt angry at myself for caring. When Maris showed me a photo filter, I smiled and practiced a face that looked tired but pretty. At the rooftop bar, the music was loud but not wild. The air smelled like perfume and grilled food. Cara stood up when she saw me. She hugged me and asked how I was. I said I was healing and pushing through. She told me I looked amazing for someone fresh out of surgery. I accepted it like it was owed. Cara asked where Ethan was. I said he was home with the kids because he insisted I needed rest, and I said it like he made a rule. Cara rolled her eyes and said he sounded controlling. I let that sit there. I did not correct it. I wanted it to grow. More friends arrived and the table filled. Someone asked how married life was going. I laughed and said it was complicated. Someone asked if Ethan was being supportive. I sighed and said he was acting like a victim. I said he got upset over small things because he needed attention. I said I was the one in pain, and he still found a way to center himself. Cara asked if I ever felt like I settled. I pretended to think hard. Then I said I loved Ethan, but love was not enough if a man could not handle a strong woman. People nodded, like I said something brave. Maris filmed a short clip of us clinking glasses. I angled my body so my scar area was not visible. I wanted the story to be glow, not wound. Noah showed up later with 2 co-workers. He acted surprised to see me, which made me feel safe. If he acted like it was random, then it looked random. He asked how I was feeling. I said I was doing better and that it was kind of him to check on me. Cara watched us with a knowing smile. I hated that she knew, but I also liked having an audience. Noah asked where Ethan was. I said he was at home being quiet. Noah said Ethan sounded intense lately. I told him Ethan was getting weird and jealous. I said I could not even breathe without him reading meaning into it. Noah shook his head and said it was not fair. I let him say it. I needed someone to say it. Cara suggested we take group photos by the railing. I stood in the middle. Maris held the phone high. Cara told me to look unbothered. I did. When the photos went up, Cara tagged me and wrote something about women healing and rising. Comments came fast. One person asked where my husband was. Cara replied with a laughing emoji. I did not stop her. On the ride back, my phone buzzed again and again. I saw a message from Ethan asking if I could be home by 9 because Mia had a school thing in the morning. I did not answer right away. I waited, like waiting proved I had power. When I finally came in, the house was quiet. The kids were asleep. A nightlight glowed near the stairs. Ethan was at the kitchen table with his laptop open. He did not look up at first. I saw a clean folder tree on his screen for a second, with names like Utilities and Archive B. Then he closed the laptop. He asked how my night was. I said it was fine. He asked if I took my meds on time. I said yes and asked why he was monitoring me. He said he was not monitoring me. He said he just wanted to make sure I did not push too hard. I told him he should focus on his own issues. I said he was acting like a prison guard. Ethan asked if Noah was there. I pretended to be shocked. I said he was being obsessive. I said Noah was a co-worker and it was a public place. I said Ethan was embarrassing himself. Ethan said he was not embarrassed. He said he wanted honesty. I laughed and asked what honesty even meant to him. I told him he made rules in his head and then blamed me for breaking them. He stood up and walked toward the hallway. As he passed his desk, I heard a soft beep again, like a recording app. He did not look at me when it happened. He opened the locked drawer, reached in, then closed it without taking anything out. The lock clicked. I went upstairs, limping more than I needed to, hoping he would feel guilty. He did not follow. He did not call after me. From the stairwell landing, I looked down and saw him still in the kitchen, wiping the counter like he was cleaning a crime scene that only he could see. The next week, I planned a dinner like it was a meeting. I told myself it was for support. I told myself family should help a marriage. But I also knew a long table could trap a man in front of witnesses. If Ethan stayed quiet, he would look guilty. If he spoke up, he would look rude. Either way, I thought I would win. I picked a family restaurant with bright lights and a big table in the back. It was the kind of place where servers smiled too much and everyone could hear everyone. I invited my parents, my sister and Ethan's parents. I said it was about my recovery, the kids, and being together. Ethan asked why we needed so many people. I said he always wanted to isolate me from support. On the drive there, Ethan asked if this dinner was really about my healing. I said yes and asked why he always questioned my motives. I added that he was making me feel judged in my own marriage. He kept his eyes on the road. He asked if we could talk privately instead. I said I was tired of private talks that ended with him staring and acting hurt. At the restaurant, Trish hugged me first and told me I looked thin. She asked Ethan if he had been helping enough at home. Ethan said he had been doing what was needed. Trish said she hoped he understood my body was still healing. I nodded and made my face serious, like I was carrying a hard burden. Owen arrived and asked how I was feeling. I said I was pushing through, but the emotional stress was making it worse. Owen asked what I meant by emotional stress. I looked at Ethan and then looked away, like I was protecting him. That move always worked on people. It made them lean in. Renee and Graham came last. Renee greeted the kids and checked their hands for sticky fingers, like she was making sure they were cared for. She asked me how my pain was. I said it was high when my mind was stressed. Graham asked Ethan if work was busy. Ethan said yes and kept it short. When we sat down, I placed myself in the center. Ethan sat beside me because the table forced it. I could feel him keeping space, even while sitting close. It felt like rejection, and it made me want to punish him. Trish started the talk by saying she was proud of me for returning to work. She then said a spouse should be gentle after surgery. She looked at Ethan when she said gentle. Ethan said he agreed. He said he wanted me to recover fully. Trish asked why he had been sleeping in the guest room then. She said it like a casual question, but it was a jab. Ethan said he had been letting me sleep without disturbance. He said I needed quiet. Trish said she did not believe that was the reason. She said it sounded like he was sulking. I watched Ethan's face. I waited for him to defend himself. He did not. He just said he was trying to keep peace for the kids. Maris jumped in and said a man should not act like a wounded child when a woman was healing. She said I had been through a lot. She said Ethan's mood was making the house heavy. I nodded. I let it build. Renee looked at me and asked what exactly Ethan did that made the house heavy. Her voice was calm. I felt annoyed because she wanted details. Details are dangerous when you are shaping a story. I said Ethan kept accusing me of things. I said he watched me like I was guilty. I said he made comments that stressed me out. I did not mention Noah. I kept it vague on purpose. Vague stress sounds more real to people than clear facts. Owen asked if Ethan yelled. I said he did not yell, but that was not the point. I said silence could be cruel too. I said he punished me with distance. I said he made me feel alone in my own home. My voice shook a little, and this time it was real, but not for the reason they thought. I was scared of losing control of the room. Ethan asked what he had accused me of exactly. I said he knew what he had been doing. I said I did not want to repeat it at dinner. I acted like he was trying to trap me with technical questions. I said he always needed to win with logic. Trish told Ethan he should stop interrogating me. She said I needed comfort, not cross-examination. Cara was not there, but Trish filled the same role. She spoke with confidence. She gave me cover. Graham asked Ethan if he believed I was lying about something. Ethan said he believed the truth mattered, especially for the kids. He said he would not fight at dinner. He said he wanted to keep things respectful. His words were polite, but they felt cold. The way he said the kids made my stomach turn. It sounded like he was stepping around me, not toward me. I leaned forward and asked Ethan, in a soft voice, why he could not just trust me. I said trust was the base of marriage. I said he was breaking it with suspicion. I watched everyone watch him. The table got quiet. Ethan said trust could not survive secrets. He did not say a name. He did not say the hospital. He did not do the dramatic thing I wanted. He just said it calmly, like a rule. That calm made Trish angry. She said he was making my recovery about his feelings. She asked if he enjoyed hurting a sick woman. I said I did not want to argue. I said I wanted family unity. I said I needed people to understand I was doing my best. Renee looked at Ethan and then at the kids. She asked Mia if school was going well. Mia answered softly and kept looking at her plate. Then Caleb, with his small voice and big timing, asked why Dad slept alone now. He said he saw Dad's blanket in the other room. Trish tried to laugh it off. I told Caleb it was adult stuff and he did not need to worry. Caleb asked if Mom made Dad sad. My chest tightened. I told him no and that Dad was just tired. Ethan reached for Caleb's cup and moved it away from the edge of the table. He asked Caleb to eat his food. He did not answer the question. He did not look at me. After dinner, I felt shaky. I told myself it was pain. I told myself Ethan ruined the night by being stiff. I told myself the family saw him clearly now. The next morning, at the school pickup line, I tried to act normal. Parents stood in little clusters. Someone mentioned the rooftop photo again and asked if my husband was okay. I said Ethan was having a hard time adjusting to my recovery and that it was sad. I said I was trying to be patient. The parent nodded like I was brave. Mia got into the car and asked why people kept looking at us. I told her they were just curious because I had surgery. She asked why Dad did not laugh with me anymore. I told her Dad was stressed from work. She looked out the window and said she missed when we ate dinner without adult faces. I told her it would get better soon. At home, Ethan was in the kitchen with a list on the counter. It was not a love note. It was not a plan for a date. It looked like tasks, times, and names for the week. He asked if Mia told me about her school event. I said yes. He asked if I could be there on time. I said he was acting like my manager. Ethan said he just wanted clarity. He said the kids needed routine. I told him he was using routine as control. I said he wanted to make me look unstable. He did not argue. He just folded the list and put it in the locked drawer. The click sounded like the end of something, even if I refused to admit it. By the time the week of Mia's school event arrived, my leg still ached, but I started using that ache like a key. If I looked fragile, people lowered their voices. If I looked fragile, Ethan's calm distance looked cruel. I liked that advantage, even while I told myself I was just getting through it. Ethan began moving through the house like a person living in a rental. He left no mess. He left no feelings on the table. He washed his own mug and set it on one side of the counter. My mug stayed on the other side. It was a quiet split, but it screamed at me. On Tuesday, I went to the kitchen and saw a sticky note near the fruit bowl. It said, "Bring forms." No hearts, no names, just that. I asked Ethan what forms. I tried to make it sound casual, like I did not care. He said it was for something practical. He did not say more. I told him he was being secretive to punish me. I said he enjoyed acting like I was the unstable one. I said it was unfair to keep me in the dark when I was still healing. He asked if I wanted to sit. I said I did not need to sit, and I made sure to stand, even though my knee hurt. Ethan asked if I could do school pickup on Thursday. I said yes, then changed my mind and said no, because pain might flare. I watched his face to see if he would complain. He did not. He just opened his phone and adjusted something on a calendar. On his screen, I saw a repeating event. It was labeled Meeting Personal. It had a location icon, but the location itself was hidden. I felt heat in my neck. I asked who he was meeting. He said it was not about dating, if that was what I was implying. He said it was about the family. I told him the way he said the family made it sound like I was not part of it. I said he was threatening me in a polite voice. Ethan said he was not threatening me. He said he was planning for stability. His words sounded like a policy, not a marriage. That afternoon, I went to work and tried to reset the story again. Kara asked if I was okay because I looked tense. I said Ethan was still being cold. I said he treated me like I had done something horrible just because I said a co-worker's name while medicated. Kara scoffed and said men always found a way to make women pay. Noah sent a message asking if I was free to talk. I told him I had 5 minutes. We stood near the copy room, not touching, not even too close, but I still felt like everyone could see through my skin. Noah asked if Ethan was still on it. I said yes. I said Ethan was acting like a saint, which made him more dangerous because everyone believed saints. Noah said I should protect myself. I asked what he meant by protect. Noah said I should be careful about what I wrote and where I went. He said Ethan seemed like the type to collect proof. I laughed like it was silly. I told Noah he was paranoid, but my hands felt cold. That night, Mia's school sent a reminder about the event. Ethan printed it and put it on the fridge. The paper looked normal, but I noticed the printer tray had been used again. The house smelled faintly like toner. I hated that my mind kept tracking these small signs, like I was the one becoming paranoid. At dinner, Mia asked if both of us would come to her school. Ethan said yes. I said yes too, but I added that I hoped Daddy would not be in a mood again. Ethan looked at Mia and told her not to worry. He said he would be there and he would be calm. He said it like a promise to her, not to me. After the kids went to bed, I tried a different angle. I softened my voice. I told Ethan I missed us. I said the hospital moment was nothing. I said he was hurting me by holding it over my head. I said a real man would protect his wife from stress, not add to it. Ethan asked if I wanted honesty or comfort. I said both, like that was reasonable. He asked again if I'd been talking to Noah outside work. I rolled my eyes and told him he was obsessed with a name. I said he was making himself sick. I said if he kept this up, I would tell people he was harassing me during recovery. Ethan nodded once. Then he stood up and walked to the hallway desk. He opened the locked drawer. I heard the click. He took out a small USB with a strip of tape on it. The tape had a date written in black ink. He held it for 2 seconds like he was checking something, then put it back and locked the drawer again. I asked him what that was. He said it was part of keeping records. I said records of what? He said records of reality. The word reality hit me hard because it sounded like an accusation without the drama I could fight. The next day, Maris called me and asked, in a quieter voice than usual, if I was sure about everything. I asked what she meant. She said people were talking. She said someone at her gym saw Noah with me downtown. I said it was a public place, and he was a co-worker. Maris asked why that co-worker kept showing up in my life. I snapped at her. I told her she was turning into Ethan. I told her she was being disloyal. Maris went silent and said she did not want to be in the middle. I told her she already was. When the call ended, I felt a new fear. Maris was my amplifier. If she stopped, my story would shrink. On Thursday, I went to Mia's school with Ethan. We stood near the back of the classroom while kids sang and waved paper crafts. Other parents smiled at us. I smiled back, a practiced smile. Ethan stayed polite. He did not touch me. He did not look at me much. He looked at Mia. After the event, a teacher thanked Ethan for always being on time. The teacher then looked at me and asked if I was feeling better. I said I was healing, but stress slowed healing. I looked at Ethan when I said stress. He did not react. In the car, I told Ethan he embarrassed me by acting like I was invisible. He asked how he embarrassed me. I said everyone could feel the tension, and it made me look bad. Ethan said he was not responsible for my image. He said he was responsible for the kids. That night, in the kitchen, I tried to force a fight. I told him he was cruel. I told him he had no empathy. I told him he was weak for hiding behind calm. I said a strong man would confront me, not stare at spreadsheets. Ethan rinsed a plate and set it in the rack. He dried his hands slowly. Then he looked at me with the most even face I had ever seen and said he would handle it properly. He said it like a closing statement, not a threat, and I felt my stomach drop because I suddenly understood he was done playing in my world. I walked into the physio clinic like I was entering a stage. My knee still hurt, but I held my chin up. I wore a soft sweater and a careful face. I wanted the front desk to see a recovering wife, not a woman who made mistakes. Trish came with me because she said I should not drive after exercises. She also liked being seen as my protector. She asked if I wanted her to speak for me if Ethan acted up. I said yes, because I wanted backup and because I still believed Ethan could be pushed into looking bad. Ethan arrived on time. He did not rush. He did not glare. He walked in with the calm of a man going to the bank. He nodded at the receptionist and asked if the lobby was a good place to wait. The receptionist said yes and pointed to chairs near the window. I felt my chest tighten because that calm did not match the villain story I had been selling. I wanted him angry. Angry men are easy. Calm men make you question your own script. Trish asked Ethan what he was doing here. Ethan said he came because it involved the family, and he wanted things clear. Trish said he was making my recovery harder. Ethan said he was not here to argue about feelings. I told Ethan he was being cold in public on purpose. I said he was trying to humiliate me. I said he was punishing a woman who had surgery. I watched the receptionist glance up and then pretend not to listen. I leaned into that. I wanted witnesses. Ethan asked if I remembered the name I said in the hospital. I said yes, but it was medicine, and I said he was pathetic for holding it. Ethan said he understood medicine, but he also understood patterns. He said he would not debate it anymore. He pulled out his phone and scrolled without shaking. He asked if I wanted to keep lying, or if I wanted to be practical. I told him I was not lying. I said he was obsessed. I said he needed therapy. Ethan said he had already talked to professionals. He said he had gathered what he needed. He did not say a lawyer's name. He did not show any letterhead. He just said it like a fact. Trish stepped forward and told him he could not threaten me. Ethan said he was not threatening me. He said he was using the proper process. The word proper hit me like a cold coin. I remembered him saying it in the kitchen, and my mouth went dry. The receptionist called my name for check-in. I stood up too fast and felt a sharp pull in my knee. I grabbed the chair back and tried to hide the wince. The receptionist asked if I needed help. I said no. I said I was fine. Before I could take a step, another woman came from a side office. She wore a neat blazer and held an envelope. She asked if I was Alithea Marlowe. I said yes, and I tried to sound annoyed, like she had no right to interrupt my life. The woman said she needed to confirm my identity. The receptionist watched closely now. Ethan stayed seated. He did not smirk. He did not speak over anyone. He looked straight ahead, like he had rehearsed being calm. The woman handed me the envelope and said I had been served. She explained it was related to family court filings. She said I could read it or take it home, but it was official as of now. Trish started talking fast and asked what this was and how they could do this to me here. The woman said she was only delivering what was filed. My fingers went numb around the envelope. I stared at my own name printed cleanly at the top of the first page. I saw Ethan's name under it. I saw the word divorce. Trish asked Ethan how he could do this when I was still recovering. Ethan said he did not choose the timing to hurt me. He said he chose the timing to protect the kids and to protect the finances from chaos. I flipped the pages too fast. My eyes caught phrases like temporary orders, parenting schedule, and exclusive use of certain accounts. I saw dates and times that started immediately. I saw a schedule that said the kids would stay with Ethan on specific nights starting this week. I saw a rule about communication staying limited and respectful, and about exchanges being done in a neutral way. I tried to laugh. I said he was overreacting. I said he was doing this for control. Ethan said he was doing it for structure. He said the structure would reduce conflict. Trish told the receptionist this was wrong and that I was a good woman. The receptionist looked down at her screen and said she could not get involved. I felt my face burn because the lobby had gone quiet. I looked at Ethan and waited for him to show emotion, any crack I could use. He only asked if I understood that the orders began now. He said he would pick up Caleb tomorrow and take Mia to school in the morning as planned. I opened my mouth to argue, but the paper in my hands felt heavier than my voice, and I realized my story had finally met a timeline that did not care how I smiled.